Mamas, good morning, good morning. Hi. All right. I'm sorry. I'm getting everything ready and I'm making sure my lighting's okay. I've got a window over here and I just love the light from it, so I know I'm a little bit washed out. Let me see if I can fix that. Hold on. All right, let's see. Is that a little bit better? We'll probably have to close that all the way, huh? All right. There. That's probably better. Okay. That's better. There we go. Hey, good morning. So, on Tuesday, I asked you, if you haven't watched Tuesday's live, scroll down the page a little bit and you'll find it, or you can go to the videos tab and you can find it there on the Small Biz Mama page. On Tuesday, I asked you to start thinking about what you wanted to accomplish in your business. And yesterday on the Bookkeeper Training School page, I kind of talked about, there's no better time, to start a business than right now. There's no good time. There's, people, they wait, for messaging and, for all the signs that they should start their business or grow their business or launch the next thing. And really, most people I know who have started businesses either started them due to an illness, either themselves or somebody in their family, a job loss. Most people, when they start businesses, it's because there's adversity, right? And so that's why we see a lot of businesses form when the economy's bad. We're seeing a lot of new businesses form right now during the pandemic. And so I asked you to start thinking about what you wanted to accomplish and what were the things, what were the skills or the habits that you needed to form, right? Or maybe you've got some habits that you need to get rid of in order to achieve that, okay? So if you haven't watched that, that's okay. I want you to go back after this one's over. If you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, stop right now and go watch Tuesdays and then come back, okay? Because today I want to talk about how you create those new habits now. A lot of people think about, okay, I'm going to wait till January and I'm going to lose weight or I'm going to start walking or I'm going to do whatever it is. I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to launch the thing. I'm going to be consistent on social, whatever your thing is. Okay. And if you're watching, whether you're watching live, you're watching the replay, if you've come up with some habits that you want to develop or some habits that you want to change, put those in the comments. I want to see what they are. That would be super, super helpful as we're going through this. But there are 3 components to creating a habit or changing a habit. Okay, there are 3 components that we need to think about. So the first one is the cue. The second one is the routine. And the third one is the reward. Okay, those are the 3 things. And so if you want to think about any habits that you have that might not be serving you well, think about these 3 things, okay? So the cue is the thing that triggers you to act, okay? It might be that you walk, so here's the terrible habit that I've kind of started in my house. So we have Hershey Kisses in the kitchen. And I have this terrible habit that when I walk by and I see them, that cues me ooh, Hershey Kiss. And I have a Hershey Kiss. And I notice I'm super distracted throughout the day. I don't do it. It's kind of like when I'm bored and I'm walking through the kitchen or I'm waiting for something and I'm walking through the kitchen, I will grab a Hershey Kiss. And I'll be and that's the cue, right? Is kind of walking by and noticing. And so when you identify what those cues are that are currently getting you to act, right, that's where you can start to think about how you change those habits. So you have to have a cue, right? And the cue is what gets you to act. The routine is the action, right? That is the thing that you want to do or the thing that you are doing that you don't want to do anymore, okay? So for me, it's picking up, eating the Hershey Kiss and throwing it away. Throwing away the wrapper. Okay. And then the reward is that thing, that feeling that you have when you do it, that helps solidify that you want to do it again. Okay. So Let me give you an example of one that works really well in my life. Um, so my morning routine is pretty do. Okay. And when it gets thrown off, I can totally tell. So I wake up in the morning, I take my antacid medication, I hop in the shower, I get out of the shower, I get dressed, I comb my hair, I do all the stuff, that you put on your face. And then I go downstairs, right? And that routine's like boom, 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 boom. And the thing that I find is that, so when I do one thing, like, I get up, the next thing I do is I take my medication. Getting up is the cue to take the medication. The medication is the cue to jump in the shower. And so you can actually use other habits, other steps to be cues for the next one. And so that's why one kind of tip for this is you can string habits together. That works really, really well for getting you to do things. So if you already have a series of things that you're already doing and there's something that you want to add, you can add that into that series and use one of your other habits as a cue. So, and then the thing I find is that depending on what's going on downstairs, when I get downstairs, that's what can mess up my habits, right? And so what I've done is I set a lot of alarms on my phone to go off throughout the day, and I use those as cues for me to do something. So I actually when I do these lives, I actually have something on my calendar that says Facebook Live so that I know on the days that I want to be here, I'm here, right? And I think those have helped me tremendously. I have those for my medications. I have those for my vitamins. I have them, it's funny because I have a whole bunch of them that go off throughout the day. And if you're one of those people that tends to ignore your alarms, I think one thing that you could do, and I've done this for me, and I use it mostly for medications, but there's an app that I use called My Therapy, and you can use it for medications, but you can also trick it into reminding you to do other things, and it will literally keep buzzing at you. Like if you disregard it, it will literally keep buzzing you until you confirm that you want to do it. And so that's pretty cool. Okay, that's kind of a little hack that you can use. But stringing those things together. And so what I found is that when I have a point at which that string of habits can get disrupted, right? Like when I go downstairs in the morning, sometimes Eric's not in a good mood. Sometimes he hasn't eaten. It depends on kind of where we are in the morning. Or he might have eaten, but I don't know. Do you guys have toddlers that are eating 3 breakfasts in the morning, or is it just my kid? I don't know. Breakfast has multi-facets, multi-components for Eric at this stage. So he's almost 3. And so, it depends on what part of breakfast he's in. So all that to say is that what I like to do is that because I know that my mornings get jostled sometimes, right? And I lose my cues sometimes, or my cue string gets broken. What I'll actually do is I'll have an alarm go off at a certain time to kind of say hey, remember that if you're not already doing this, you need to do this. And that will help me pick up that string of items that I need to do. Okay. So I think that's critically important. So remember, we're talking about cue, routine, and reward. Okay. So find your cues, right? If you have existing habits that you're trying to either modify or strengthen. So, one thing for me is for my morning walks, I need that alarm to kind of recenter me and go, oh my goodness, it's 8 o'clock. I got to get out the door and do my walk. that really, really helps me, that no matter what else is going on, that alarm going off, I can use as a cue to recenter myself. And I know, like, that 8 o'clock alarm goes off, it's time for me to go out and go for my walk. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and cues can be lots of different things. You know, I know some people that they use, when they're first starting to work out, they use commercials as a cue to get up off the couch, and they'll walk during the commercial. And then when the commercial's over, they'll sit back down, but just to get like some movement in. I think a lot of times, you know, we think that when we're creating a new habit that it has to be something humongous, right? So, you know, I'm finding that during the winter, you know, and I keep going back to walking because it's something that's really on my mind right now. Because I've started kind of falling out of that habit with the weather getting colder. So what I'll do is I'll set alarms throughout the day, and I'll just do 10-minute like walks around the house, or I'll walk in place for 10 minutes. And just doing that, right? I mean, think about that. If I do that 3 times throughout the day, maybe I do one, you know, once in the morning, once around lunchtime, and once near the end of my day, I've gotten in a 30-minute walk over the day. I think we think it's got to be like this all or nothing, like humongous change, right? And sometimes just doing little bits throughout the day. You know, we do this when we do marketing for our business. You know, I think it's kind of daunting for people, the idea of like sitting down for 30 minutes and trying to like network on Facebook. And so, you know, what you can do is do 10 minutes here, do 10 minutes there. And kind of put together a list for yourself of where you're going to go, right? So maybe have a list of like all the groups you want to check out, or all the pages that you want to check out to see if there's new activity. And then, you know, hit those places, spend 10 minutes. When your timer goes off, cut out and do something else, right? And then do that multiple times a day. As I said, it doesn't have to be something humongous. It can be incremental changes that you make throughout your day that are going to make, you know, a huge difference for you. Okay. So we talked about pairing with existing routines. I think that, you know, that's really helpful. String those routines together and use the routines as, you know, the cue for the next habit that you want to have. And then figure out what rewards work for you. So one thing that really helped me on my walking journey is I joined something called 99 Walks. And it's a subscription service where you get access to an app and you set your own goal. And then if you reach your goal at the end, and you set the goal, like it can be, my goal fluctuates. So sometimes it's 60 miles a month, sometimes it's 40 miles a month. It just depends on the month. And, but you set your goal, and if you make your goal, they send you a bracelet. And it's funny because I joined in May, and I've gotten every bracelet from May to October. And so now it's November, and I'm behind on my miles. And I've got 11 more days to go. And let me see. So I knew that this was going to be a rough month because it was getting colder. So I have 18, almost 19 miles that I need in the next 11 days. And so I'm going to go for lots of little strategic walks to make that up, because I want the bracelet, right? That reward works for me. And so, you know, come up with rewards that are meaningful for you. And they don't have to be anything big, right? So, you know, for my walking thing, plus I hate wasting money too, and I feel like a waste of money if I don't make my goal. That bracelet is enough that like I want to hit that. You know, for some people it's, you know, having like a competitive event, right? So like there's lots of like 5K groups out there right now that you can join, and if you finish your walking or you finish your running, you get a medal, which is very cool. There are, that's why I think like Peloton and Echelon and all of those are doing really, really well, because there's a competitive spirit to the workouts. And I think, for a lot of people, we're working this in a bookkeeper training school, having like those targets to hit as you go through the content, and we're building that into the next version of the roadmap for bookkeeper training school. Is there's going to be like, these little check-ins, like, hey, have you done this? Have you done these things? And when you check it off, like, you get like a big kudos inside the software. So, that's why gamification works, right? What can you gamify in your life? For some people, it's kind of funny so we use Asana as our task app. And so as I check off tasks in Asana that I finish things, like this huge like celebration thing comes up, there's like lots of confetti and it's pretty awesome. For some people like that really works to kind of have that little celebration. So what is the thing that you can put in place that, and again, it doesn't have to be huge, right? Sometimes, like I said, when I check off something in Asana, it's like, woohoo! Like that little hit of dopamine is enough for me. You have to figure out what works for you. And it doesn't have to be something, humongous. It could be that, hey, if I consistently do something, and I did this last quarter. So last quarter, one of my goals was to go live on Facebook at least once a week, for 13 weeks. And I did that every single week for 13 weeks. And my reward was to get the stuff for your Cricut machine so that you can make t-shirts. And that was my thing. So I figured 13 weeks, right? I had to do it for, in order to get my easy press is basically the thing that I really needed. And so, if you do like a long-term goal, maybe you do a little bit bigger reward. But it has to be something that, you think is worthwhile and something that is something that's kind of outside the norm, right, for you. And so, like I said, and it doesn't have to be something big. Like it could be, it could be as simple as like, hey, if I do this today, then, tonight, I'm going to go for a walk by myself and my spouse is going to, watch the kids. Or I'm going to take a bubble bath because that's something I don't normally do and I would love to do. Whatever that thing is for you. And sometimes, it could be buying an Audible credit, right? And getting a book that you want. It could be, taking the time to watch, a movie on a Christmas movie on Hallmark. It could be just taking the time to like, you know what? I have all this crafting stuff. I'm going to carve out time in my day to work on a project. I think right now, especially moms, we're so busy running around like crazy, that just sometimes like taking time for yourself is a huge reward, right? And honestly, it's something I think you should be doing either way. It shouldn't have to be a reward, but if that's kind of what it takes to get you to do that, then kudos, let's do it. But I really want you to kind of think about these three things, right? So if you are trying to set, new habits so that you can hit 2020, like it would be great if the things that you need to get you going so that you can have, the 2021 that you really want. If you could have all those habits in place by January 1st, instead of waiting until January 1st to start, think about how much further ahead you will be. Okay, so if you haven't watched Tuesday's Live, go back and watch Tuesday's Live. Think about the habits that you need to form to get where you need to be, right? To get going for 2021, or what habits you need to break, okay, to serve you well in 2021. And then think about what is the cue that you're going to put in place, okay, or what's the cue that is that has you doing the habit that you don't want to do? What's the routine that you need to create? Okay, and sometimes that's stringing your routines together. And then what is your reward going to be? And sometimes that reward, it can literally be as simple as pausing and saying, good for me. That's awesome. Okay. Next thing, right? I think a lot of times we accomplish things and we don't even take a second to just go, yeah, that's awesome. I did it. Okay. So cue, routine, reward. I'd love to know what habits you are creating or what habits you are changing to get you ready for 2021. Leave them in the comments here. I'd love to see them. All right, mamas, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you soon. Take care.